Hello, everybody. My name is Ghost for Face. Welcome to episode 3 of our Just Build series. This is going to be part 2 of the Rustic cabin, and so what we are doing today is terraforming the hill behind our rustic cabin, making it all look nice, making it look natural, just making it look beautiful. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Okay, so what we're gonna begin doing is just start the video by just adding in the little yellow line that you see. That is going to be just a line that I added in. It's for my tree line because I don't want trees too close to the cabin. So I have an area for trees to go to stay beyond, and I always just like starting with an outline just to give myself an idea of how do I want it to look. That's just how I started. Then what we're gonna do is, as you see, you can barely see me, but you see me in the back just moving some stuff around, just changing how the shape is of the hill a little, just to make it a little nicer, make it to my liking. So as this is my first time ever recording with a third person camera account, so the view that you see, how you can actually see me instead of in first person. Well, I was not really thinking of how this shot would turn out, so it's a little bad. So I ask you, please just be forgiving because it's not the best shot. I understand that, and it's really zoomed out. I don't know why, but I just wanted to make sure you guys could see everything, and by that, you can barely see anything right there. So right here I got a better shot and it makes more sense. You can actually see what I'm doing. So right as I started this project, I knew that this area right here I did not want to keep. I wanted it completely redone. It was weird how the generation was from the world. It was like hanging over a cliff, and I did not like that. So as you see, I am just going through and giving everything the shape that I want. The one thing when I am terraforming is I want to stay away from straight lines. As you see, every single layer has different curves and has different angles, and that's how I wanted to terraform this hill. Is I just wanted it to be a hill and to not be just a layer after layer going up, lines everywhere, all turning every which way. And as you see now, that looks so much better now than when it was just a big ball of stone just hanging over a cliff. Now it looks like just a hillside. It's a little steep for a hillside, but I wanted it like that because sometimes just having differences, like as you see to the right, it's all nice and flat and it comes down slowly, but then to the left, it's a little steeper and it goes up quicker, and that's how I wanted it. And then we're gonna back up really quickly, and this is now me just planning out where do I want my trees. I'm placing them every here and there, just trying to give enough coverage without making the trees too close together that the leaves actually touch. Then this was a last minute thing that I added in, that little blue line right there. That was just a river that I thought that it was a little bland without nothing here. So without anything else but trees that are green and bushes and stuff. So I was thinking, let's add some blue in. So how I just planned this river is I just dug a little hole where it starts, dug a little hole where it ends, and then just make a little line of wool connecting the two areas. Then as you see to the left, I'm just working on a little tree really quickly. I'm making a lot of trees, so I was just trying to go through and just keep moving, and I really like the first tree. As you see though, again, this was one of my first times doing this, so you can't really see me right there. It gets better later in the video, but right in the beginning, I was not really thinking about that. That just never crossed my mind. I was just really excited to show you guys all the work that I was doing, so that's why. So as you see though, this tree right here, you can see me build pretty well, and every single tree here I built with a different style. And some trees I would just cover them in leaves and then break leaves away. Other trees I would wrap the leaves around it like a vine. And surprisingly, the bigger trees that I built were actually easier because the bigger trees I was able to add more leaves on and have more space, and it's a lot easier than a little tree that you're just trying to find that balance between leaves and just the shape of it, because we don't want it to be just a ball of leaves, and we want it to have a shape but just have balance. Basically, the bigger trees, they're a little more forgiving in that because they allow you to add more leaves on, which allow you to add more shape, and they're just a little easier to build. Every single one of these trees, though, I built totally different. As you see, that tree right there, that trunk is very slanted, and some of these trees are not very leaning to one side, but I wanted every single tree to be different. I wanted them all to be leaning different ways, being different heights, so that's why I decided to build each tree individually. And then as you see in this shot, how I'm starting with the back trees. This is the first shot where I actually put into consideration where the camera account was. And actually, I wanted to make sure you guys could see everything that I was doing. So I started with the back trees, and then I slowly moved forward towards the camera account. And as you see, every single tree building it differently, having different tops on, different heights, and just making every tree different. That was the main goal. It's just everything to be different. And then as you see right here, I have this really tree that's just it's really just completely straight up and down. It's just a stick basically. And I wanted trees to be different. So I decided let's just have that one perfect tree that it could be a Christmas tree or something, and just that one tree that's just perfect straight up and down, and then just have the leaves coming flowing off at different levels, and that is how I really wanted that tree. Then you can see to the right of it, the little tree that I'm working on right now. It's a smaller tree, and I wanted them to have, again, just a little shape to it. As you see, they're leaning back and forth and things like that. Not like that one tree that's straight up and down, because I wanted these trees to have a variety of different shapes, different angles, just everything. And then we're going to move over now to the other side, where we're going to finish our final 6 trees. So this first tree that we started, we just are going up and just covering in leaves, and these trees took me a little longer because of the shapes and things. I really wanted to make sure they looked nice, and I just kept going around and around and looking at the trees. That's just how I build trees. I put the leaves down, step back, and just look around because I want to stay away from making it just a box of leaves. I want to add each leaf very strategically to give it a shape, but not add too many leaves that it looks like a circle or a box. And that's just how I am trying to make these nice little pine trees. And then as you see, I'm just running the leaves down the tree, just covering them up, and I do like certain areas. I love when the wood just shows through in a few areas, and then just have a little tree, leaf coverage here, leaf coverage there. I really like how that looks. And then again, to the left of this tree, now I'm building a new one, and this one just has one little area where it just is a little leaning, just to give it a little shape, but to not have every single tree just be leaning over, and just to give it a little shape. And just having these minor changes to the trunk really help with building the tree. They really make it easier. And then again right here, I'm just building a rather small tree. This is actually one of the more difficult trees because it is so small and it's straight up and down. With this tree, you have to really focus on the leaves because the leaves are what give that type of tree shape. And then right here to the right of it, we've got this really tall tree. This is probably one of my favorite trees, and the style of building actually worked out really well. I built rings of leaves, as you see, just square rings around the trunk, and then I would go through and add and touch up different areas and then connect the rings together with a few leaves to where you have these like sections of leaves around the tree, and then you have some areas that connect them, and I really liked how that tree turned out. And then to the left, we have our final tree. This tree, again, just adding a little shape to it and then moving around with the leaves and stuff. This tree, I wanted to give the proper coverage. So as you see, I went around this tree a lot trying to finish it, make it look nice. And I I didn't like how it looked in the front, and I was just having a really hard time trying to prevent it from being just like a box of leaves. So I was just working on that for a while. Then what we did is we moved over to our working on our little river. So what we did is first off we just dug an area to connect between the 2 points of our starting and ending. Then we put some water down it just to see how the water would flow. And then we just started filling in, adding just water every here and there, just trying to give it shape and things. And then starting to alter the landscape so that it fits. As you see at the bottom here, I'm working around that tree with moss and things like that just to add some shape in. And then one problem that I was having here is that I was having the water freezing. So what I did is I put jack-o'-lanterns under the water and then just put a moss carpet on top, and that took care of that. And then as you see, I'm outlining the river with moss carpet in certain areas just to give it a little more shape. And then you can see right here, I was having a hard time with that jack-o'-lantern because the moss carpet was getting pushed off by flowing water. So I just had to figure out how to stop the water from flowing. And then right here, I'm just placing some oaks, leaves, some ferns, some grass, and some dandelions. Just the dandelions are to give it shape, and then I'm just adding that just to give it more interesting things to the ground, just to make it more visually appealing. And then just the yellow is just to give it that little pop of color, because other than that it would be green, and then it would kind of all just mash up together. So I just wanted a subtle little hints of color in there, so you can see as we're going around just the little dandelions everywhere. And I think that really added to it. And then you see that now we're just taking our last view, and I was really happy with how this turned out. And I just tried to put every single I think that I knew about terraforming together, and I just tried to do the best I could, and I actually am really happy. I love all the trees, and I love the landscape, and I love that river in the center. So that is the end of our time lapse. I hope you enjoyed. Okay, guys, so that was the end of part 2 of our rustic cabin build. That time lapse took me about 2 hours of work to do all of this, to do the terraforming, the trees, the river, and then the little stuff on the ground, but it was so worth it. I love how this turned out. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video, because I have really enjoyed making it. This has been so much fun. So what we are just going to do now is just really quickly, I'd love to talk to you guys really quickly about, if you can probably hear them right now. I've got 2 birds and they just chirp all day, and in my videos you can expect to hear them because they love to chirp, and they love to speak to each other, and they love to just talk to everyone and let us all know, oh yeah, they're definitely here. And if you don't like them and don't like the parakeets chirping in the background, I'm gonna apologize right now, and I really hope that doesn't stop you from watching my videos, but they are probably gonna be there for pretty much all of them. So I would just like to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope you really enjoyed it, because I had so much fun doing all of this terraforming and building all these trees. It was such a fun process, and I'm really happy with how this looks now. Look at our cute little rustic cabin, all of our trees, and this beautifully terraformed piece of mountain, I guess. It's more of a hill, but still, I loved it. I had such a fun time, and I was looking back at my other 2 videos, and I, for some reason, signed off by saying, as said before, my name is Ghost for Tape Face, so I'm going to do that again. So, my name is Ghost for Tape Face. Thank you all for watching this video. I had so much fun making it. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because if you don't, you may get ghosted.